Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this talk. The talk's title is Organizational Distance Also Matters, How Organizational Distance Among Industry Research Teams Affects Their Research Productivity. This is a paper representing a joint collaboration between IBM Research and Cornell University. We have this observation that within an organization, a project team may not be the same as the organizational team. Let's take a look at this illustration. To the left, this is a typical organizational hierarchy where you have two organizational teams here, manager A and manager E. Each is managing 3 employees reporting to them. So these are 2 organizational teams. To the right, you can see there are 2 project teams. These are, as this study is in the research and development organization, so these are 2 research project teams. Within each of the research project team, there may be a fixed number of people involved, team members, and despite that they may come from different backgrounds, some of them are managers or engineers or researchers, they work together for a significant amount of time to deliver one particular project deliverable. There are different ways to calculate the organizational distance. To the left, if we only calculate the hierarchical distance, that means that from B to A, there's a link. From C to A, there's a link. You can always calculate the distance between any employee using such calculation. But if you want to calculate someone who are at the same level, then you have to go through your direct report. That means between B and C, in the left chart, their distance will be calculated as 2. But if we also take into account the peer relationship, then as represented in the right chart, then between B and C, their distance will be 1. Between B and D, their distance will also be 1. We call it a strict hierarchy, but with peers relationship, SHP. Now, let's come back to our primary research question. The research question is, is there a relationship between the team dispersion and the team productivity? In particular, in this paper, we're looking at the team dispersion from the following 4 categories: geographical distance, temporal distance, functional distance, which is whether engineers or researchers, and the last one, the focus of this paper, organizational distance, as already defined in the previous slides. There are various related works in this domain, from the classic Olsen and Olsen's Distance Matters to the more recent works published by Mark Whitney and our peers. So people are so interested in what are the team composition and how they can influence the team productivity. In this particular study site, there was a unique opportunity for us. In November 2017, there's a reorg happened in this R&D division. In total, more than 500 employees are involved in this reorg. So they still remain in their existing organizational team, but they can form new research teams using a self-organized manner. So in total, there are 117 research teams being formed and self-organized. On average, there are about 7 members in each of those teams. Because we have access to these 117 teams composition, we also have each of these employees' organizational position in the organization hierarchy chart so that we can calculate all the following 4 measures: geo distance, temporal distance, functional distance, and organizational distance. In addition to these 4 primary factors, we are also interested in controlling the following 3 factors: team size, team motivation, and the same org team using binary measurement. Here are some highlights of the findings. First, if we divide all the teams, the project teams, into 2 categories. One category, which we call them as more productive teams, that means within a fixed amount of time, they actually delivered a research paper out of these research projects. The less product teams are the ones that couldn't deliver a research paper. One thing worth mentioning is that at the beginning of this reorg, coming up with a paper submission is one of the common goals that all these 117 teams share, which makes this quasi-experiment setting. And that's why this is a unique opportunity. It's rarely seen in many other real-world organization settings. But from this table, as you can see, that certainly whether the team explicitly indicates that they have confidence to publish a paper by the end of the project, use that as a team motivation, it plays an important role in predicting whether they can eventually have that paper outcome. Also, the functional dispersion score and the organizational distance score are showing difference in these 2 clusters of teams. As a final part of my presentation, I want to present this logistic regression model that shows how the organizational distance score and the team motivation can actually influence the team's publication likelihood. As you can see from this beta coefficient, the further away these team members are in the organization can actually lead to a higher chance of publishing a paper. If they have a team motivation at the beginning, it can also lead to a higher chance of they have a publication coming out. We see this interesting finding as distance often are portrayed as a blocker to people's productivity, but here is certainly empowering the teams if they have people from different parts of the organization. More findings and discussions, you can refer to our paper. Thank you.